Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and I've listened to Queen a lot when I grew up. My father is a giant fan of the band and at a specific time in my life I watched my two live DVDs, Live at Wembley Stadium and Live at the Bowl, on constant repeat. In the last 10 years they weren't on my playlist that often though, but there's no question about my music picks for the next weeks. Watching this film was a strange experience, because the very early reactions I heard of were super positive. Then all of a sudden the movie was rotten at around 50% just before I went to the cinema. And now I'm sitting there waiting for it to get really bad, and it never happened. I'm saying it right now, I had a blast with Bohemian Rhapsody. The film was directed by Bryan, who got the only directing credit, but he was actually fired by 20th Century Fox due to his erratic behavior on and off set, whatever that really means. He was replaced by Dexter Fletcher, who finished the film. I don't think you will notice any of that in the final product, and whoever did what exact scene, I think they did a terrific job. Bohemian Rhapsody is 2 hours and 15 minutes long, so it's not exactly the film's equivalent to the epic song. But it's the right length for their story. And their story focuses on the band's lead singer Freddie Mercury, his identity as a performer, friend and lover. How he formed the band with Brian May, Roger Taylor and John Deacon, his relationship to Mary Austin, who he called the love of his life, his sexuality, his musical genius and so on. The film ends with one of the absolute highlights in the history of Queen, their performance at Live Aid in 1985. The film is a celebration of Queen and Freddie Mercury. It tends to be on the lighter side and many aspects might come together a bit too easily, but it's also not shying away from darker topics as well, and the film is also very flamboyant and beautifully gay from the get-go. Queen is one of the biggest bands ever, they recorded many hit albums and they have a big history covering several decades. So of course there's a ton of stuff that's not in the movie. Those aren't even minor aspects but huge chunks that are deliberately left out. But that's absolutely fine, because the movie has to tell some story, especially if it's not a documentary or a long miniseries. Of course there are also things that are streamlined, exaggerated, put in a better light, and the timeline isn't all that correct all the time either. But unless a film completely distorts the reality and tells the story it wants to tell in a great fashion, I don't mind it. Sometimes it can even get away with distorting the reality and still be a great film. Now, is Bohemian Rhapsody a great film? I'm not yet sure about that. After just having seen it once, I would cautiously say yes. What I can say without a doubt in my mind is that lead actor Rami was born to play this role. He embodies Freddie Mercury so much so that at the end I had a hard time imagining what the real Freddie Mercury looks like. Malik'S performance is mesmerizing. He nails the looks, the mannerism, the movements, the shining stage persona, the shy personal moments, the insecurity, the bravura, the loneliness, the charisma, and of course the voice, not only when he talks but also when he sings. And it's never really clear where his singing voice ends and where the real Freddie Mercury once begins. Watching Malik on screen is watching a performance of a lifetime, but I didn't think that it was just his performance alone that made the film. Bohemian Rhapsody is a rompous, energetic celebration, and the way it incorporates the music of Queen into its narrative was quite wonderful. And while some of the conceptions of their most iconic songs feel a bit too easy, as do many things here, it was nevertheless super entertaining to join Queen in their recording sessions, which also reminded me a bit of the exploration of the creation of pet sounds in the Brian Wilson biopic Love and Mercy, which I also recommend. When they finally released their masterpiece Bohemian Rhapsody, the film does a little montage of harsh reviews of the time, and one can't help but recognize the meta nature of it. This version of a Freddie Mercury biopic isn't without its flaws, but at its heart I thought it really captured the essence of the band and their music pretty well. It is fast and shrill, theatrical and wild, it's a little bit gaga and has a lot of humor as well. I heard that there are criticisms that Mercury's Parsi origin wasn't addressed enough. He was born Farrokh Bulsara, but I thought it was there from the beginning, and again, while the conflict with his father is solved a bit too quick in the end, I found this aspect to be handled very well overall. Another critic addresses that the other band members are shifted to the side and their contributions marginalized. Again, I had a different perception. Of course, their roles are smaller than that of Mercury, who is the film's clear focus, but A, I didn't expect this to be a Queen documentary, and B, I thought their parts in creating that great music were recognized as well, especially through the character arc of Freddie himself and the way he sees them as family. But it was also directly addressed several times when Bryan May, Roger Taylor or John Deacon wrote this song, for example. Another criticism I heard was that his sexuality and later AIDS disease weren't explored enough, but I thought they and the overall theme of identity were all over the film. And besides all that, the film is also full of little touches and moments that were quite magical. Maybe schmaltzy to some, but really memorable and special to me. Like the scene in which he's switching the light on and off at his window to communicate with Mary. There's really a lot to love here, beginning with Rami Malek's performance, the energetic positive vibe of the whole film, the power of the music, to its humor and little meta moments like the Mike Myers cameo. Things I think could have been handled better, mostly concern Freddie's partners. I felt that we as the audience really don't get to know Mary Austin at all, besides Freddie's love for her. His lover Paul Prenter, on the other hand, is portrayed as a very cliché gay villain. There are a few sweet moments with his later partner in life, Jim Hutton, and also first meeting that can be very controversial, especially in 2018, and even more so when it's directed by Bryan Singer, who has been accused many times in the past of sexual abuse. To this I just say that detached from this, the scene itself in the movie was alright. But what I wanted to say is that the whole relationship with Jim Hutton was that one time where the oversimplification or the easy nature of the film's conflict resolutions was bothering me a little bit. But nevertheless, I had a blast with Bohemian Rhapsody, and I haven't even talked about the bombastic concert scenes that really made me want to clap my hands and stomp my feet in the cinema. So in German I'd say, Rami Malek liefert die Performance seines Lebens ab. Bohemian Rhapsody lässt Freddie Mercury wieder auferstehen und zelebriert diese einmalige Lichtgestalt und die großartige, mitreißende Musik von Queen. Dramaturgisch macht er sich vielleicht manchmal etwas leicht, aber das tut dem immensen Unterhaltungswert und der positiven, inspirierenden Stimmung keinen Abbruch. I give Bohemian Rhapsody 8 out of 10. It's more like 8.1, but I don't do that.
Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia, let me go. Beelzebub has a devil put aside for me, for me, for me.
Alright, that's it. Like always, comment below and let me know what you think about Bohemian Rhapsody. And also let me know what is your favorite Queen song. You can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram simply at @JimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.